Hey everyone, what's going on? Phoenix here. Today I am bringing you another Asheron's Call build guide, and I'm going to be talking about Fell Seroth's build. So I have used this character in a ton of different videos, and I'm finally going to go over what his build is. So Fell Seroth is kind of my archer character. I use him in Viridian Rise a lot. You may have watched my VR video where I used him to go through all the different levels. So I have enlightened Fell Seroth twice. I used him in my enlightenment video, and having 2 tiers of enlightenment actually does make a difference, because if you had trained missile weapons, say, you could still use 375 missile weapons. I don't do that, but it's nice to have the 2 tiers of enlightenment. So for my attributes, I am 10 strength, 60 endurance, 100 coordination, 10 quickness, 100 focus, and 100 self. Really good basic archer template, because you want that 100 focus, 100 self for the magics. And because of how good bow is, you only need the one attribute, 100 cord, to get the max damage. I've got all of my regular experience augmentations, and I've got most of my luminance augmentations back up after the second enlightenment, but I haven't been pushing this character that hard. So those are my attributes. In terms of my skills, you may notice the first thing right off the bat that's a little bit different, which is that I have specialized cooking. The reason I have that is because I use this character in Viridian Rise, and I use the specialized cooking to get these mana-infused, stamina-infused, and life-infused night blooms to make honeyed meads, which are a really good consumable, and the only way to get them is to have cooking in Viridian Rise. So that's why I have spec cooking. Spec healing, life magic, missile weapons, and summoning. I really value having spec life magic, and because I have 100 focus, 100 self, I have a pretty high life magic, 543, and I'm not using adept set, so could be even higher if I went that route. For my train skills, creature, item, Manasy, required, I think, for playing a character, unless you want to get really into building your suit. Or play Nomad, which maybe you enjoyed that build guide too. I have Lockpick, again, for Viridian Rise. If you have a certain Lockpick skill, which what I do when I'm in Viridian Rise is I take off one of my bracelets, put on a legendary Lockpick item, and then I have my Lockpicker's Golem. Oh, that guy's dead. And with that bonus, oh, he's still down there somewhere. That's hilarious. Anyway, with that bonus, I can get to 592 lockpick, which is more than you need to get to the minimum Viridian essences that you need to progress in levels, which is only 4. It makes going through VR so much faster. Then I also have melee defense, kind of required to play a character. So yeah, the really big difference in this character is the lockpick and the cooking. If you didn't have those, you could get something like recklessness or dirty fighting if you wanted to just get like a little bit more damage, or you could get something like finesse weapons to have some flexibility and have the ability to fight in melee or fight in ranged if you want. Now for my suit, I have a yellow Society Locket from Gauntlet, which is really nice. It's got the double legendary piercing ward, legendary slashing ward. My trinket is a damage imbued legendary summoning prowess. And so one other thing I want to talk about with the attributes is that having 60 endurance lets me get to 570 summoning. Now, I don't specifically need that, but I think the endurance is the next best attribute. Maybe you could have quickness, but I don't really need the survivability. V1 legendary invuln bracelet, legendary acid ward ring, legendary lockpick prowess, which gets swapped out for my legendary bludgeoning ward. Legendary flame ward ring. And the reason that I swapped the bludgeoning ward bracelet for the lockpick is that there's really only one monster that's dealing bludgeoning damage in VR, which is the golems, and they go down pretty quick anyway. I have a level 5 minus 200 melee D cloak that I use to get a pretty good melee D of 545 because I have that 100 cord, and I'm also using Dexterous set, which the cord buff from that helps my melee D as well. Legendary quickness shirt, DR3 legendary endurance pants. I definitely need to upgrade my shirt to get some ratings on it, but I haven't really been focusing on upgrading that type of stuff with this character. For my Aetheria, I'm using 2 damage ones, 1 surge of protection, 1 surge of regen, and then a Sigil of Defense, Surge of Destruction. Again, not that great. It's really hard to find very good Aetheria, so I haven't bothered upgrading these that much. And really any good upgrades that I have go on Phoenix, so that's why these are only mediocre. For my armor, I have everything 10 tinked with 9 steel and 1 Peridot for the melee D bonus. And I've put all of the VR life imbues, but none of the VR extra imbues for like critical damage or critical damage reduction. So for my helm, I'm using a Dex set legendary focus. Upper arms, I have Wise legendary creature. For my chest, I have Dexterous Frost Ward. Dex CDR1, which is really nice. Legendary Cord, lower arms. For my gauntlets, Wise Life Magic. For my girth, I have Dexterous Storm Ward. For my upper legs, I have Wise Legendary Magic Resistance. For my lower legs, Dexterous Legendary Missile Weapons. For my shoes, I have Wise Legendary Willpower. So that's 5-piece Dexterous, 4-piece Wise, and I could probably switch out the Wise for Adept set and it would be a little bit better. The reason I was using Wise is just to guarantee that 570 summoning even with like a debuff or something. And that's my armor that I'm wearing. So for my gear, it's kind of standard. I don't have fletching, so I use the alternate currency ammunition, which I'm thinking about making a video about how that works because I see that come up a lot. I have this really nice Diamond Scepter, which is I think like 1 off from max melee defense with the Legendary Defender. So this is kind of what I run around with all the time, and that on top of having the 545 melee defense, because like I was talking about, the Dexterous set gives you Master Rover's Quickness and Master's Duelist Coordination, so it's 40 points to your main stat, so it's like, what is that, like 12 or 13 extra melee defense just from that, which is really nice, plus the cloak. In terms of other weapons, like I have a pretty bad acid Anekshe Slayer acid bow that I use for hunting in VR, and then I have one that is, oh, it's in here. So yeah, I have an offensive acid bow for VR, and I have a defensive acid bow for VR. So like when I'm fighting Gromneys, I pull out the defender bow, and when I'm fighting Anekshe or like the bees, you know, I pull out the offensive bow. I've got everything that I need to run gauntlets, so I've got like the Tusker Wand, I've got the Shadow Wand, I've got the Sing Bow. So yeah, that is Fell Seroth in a nutshell. I think the really interesting thing about this character is being able to fit in spec cooking and also having lockpick. I think it works really well, and there's a ton of room in an archer build because of how good Missile Weapons is and how cheap it is. You know, it's only 12 credits to specialize. I really enjoy playing this character. I hope you like watching him in all the videos. So yeah, that's going to be it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you made it to the end of this video, you're an MVP, and I really appreciate you watching the whole thing. And see you next time.